We just can't keep going the way we're going. It's unsustainable. COVID is one thing. It's one of the threats that a lot of us preppers thought was coming, and we'll write about that one. I think the next is environmental and potential economic collapse. Maybe things have got to come crashing down before they can get better. Yeah, so without giving away too much, I've got 7 locations. About 4 of those locations you need map and compass to get to, and I've purposely done that. So it'd be literally like looking for a needle in a haystack if anyone wanted to find me. A lot of that stuff's just to help me to transition into, you know, living completely off the land. I guess that's where a lot of prepping falls over, because don't get bogged. A lot of prepping falls over because they are often relying just on the preps completely, and if someone comes and finds all that and takes that, then they're left with nothing. That's got natural antibiotics in it, that tree. A good one to know. There's just so many different ways that things could go down. Weather events, there could be military intervention. Sleeping in the grass hut, it's just a beautiful, really primal feeling. Wake up in the middle of the night and you can just see all that grass above you and smell the grass and hear the animals, and sometimes see the animals, which keeps you awake in the middle of the night. Oh, if something happened and society as we knew it came crashing down, I'd be pretty well positioned. You know, you get a couple of decent hunters and people that are decent at fishing, and other people are out foraging. You'd have to change your way of thinking, become a bit of a different animal, so to speak. So who knows what some people would be capable of if there was no law to keep them under check. Yeah, they're pretty sexy throwing knives, eh? Again, not that practical. You miss someone, they pick it up and come running back at you with a knife. They didn't have a knife before, you know. Good way to pass the time out here, though. And a lot of people get right into it, especially the ladies. They get right into the knife throwing. To me, self-defence is an integral part of survival. I don't think a little bit of fear is unhealthy, particularly in a really bloody scary world. You know, if you've got, you know, an investment in the future like I do and having a young daughter, a little bit of fear of the future sometimes can be a good motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Can you taste the sarsaparilla and the ginger?
Mm-hmm. Delicious. Looking right, looking left. Ready to shoot.
A bit more to your right.
That good?
Lower. Bang on, go. Oh, yeah. Right near the bullseye again. Yeah, my daughter knows why I'm prepping, but I try not to go too deep into it. I try and keep it light, fun and exciting. But, you know, I've got an ulterior motive. I want my daughter to be as resilient as possible. I think younger generations, that's going to be more and more important, that they come through really resilient and switched on. I actually had wonky ankles as a little kid. So my mum put me into Taekwondo when I was about 4, and then ended up doing a bit of kickboxing for a couple of years. Had a couple of fights in the ring as a light heavyweight, and then went to bouncing, working in the pubs and clubs. Growing up as a kid, we used to have a roller skating rink up the road here, which was pretty popular. I ended up running security there for an under-18s disco here in Gosford. That was a bloody nightmare. Try breaking up a fight when it's a couple of 14-year-old girls. This is where the pub used to be that I worked at for many years. Because sometimes working in this pub, you'd end up in 10 full-on fights a night. I got shot at, had to take knives off people, baseball bats. I had 3 guys and a girl attack me at the same time and caught me over the back of the head with a brick, which basically opened up my scalp from the back of my ear to the back of my ear. So I had to go to Gosford Hospital again. I became a bit of a regular. Hello. Good, how are you? Excuse me. Hello. Do you know where I get seeds, please? Like vegetable seeds, like that you can plant? A lot of this stuff is just to get me to transition into living off the wild foods, but in the meantime, it's good to have this kind of stuff. In case I'm hunkered down in a cave underneath the building, depending on what's going on, and I don't have access to the wild plants that are out there, this will keep my body working. If you're really, really tight with your rations, it could potentially keep you going for months. Here we've got one of my favourite food resources. I don't know if many people have eaten pigeon before, but it's absolutely delicious. Keeping them tame is something that I've done in a couple of areas I've hung out in for a while, and then you can trap them and humanely kill them. Because they may have parasites, I boil the meat for at least 10 minutes and then either roast it or fry it. And that's really good tucker and abundant food resource. Right. There's a lot of aspects of society that are really crumbling. On the other hand, you do have many aspects of society that are salvageable if we had the right people in power. I myself and about a dozen other people in the community camped right here for 89 days. One of the landowners here has started clearing in an area where we knew there was registered Aboriginal sites and endangered flora and fauna. We got an incredible amount of support, but it's quite fascinating and a bit disturbing to see the level of opposition we got. I guess when you're standing in the way, potentially, of $250 million worth of development, that kind of stuff happens. This was only part of what they were going to develop. They were going to develop all over the other side here as well. It was around the time that we set up the camp here that a friend suggested that I should run in the state election. She convinced me that, I wouldn't get elected, there'd be no chance I'd get elected, but I might be able to leverage the state government in buying all this land. And it took over 40 rallies and peaceful protests and nearly 10 years of my life until we got all this officially made national park. Well, growing all along this disturbed soil on the edge of this chook farm is Lantana camara, one of Australia's most hated introduced plants. And it's really fascinating. I often say for human beings to call any other species on the planet invasive is a little bit hypocritical when a lot of these plants are incredibly useful, unlike some people, like our elected leaders from time to time. I should say first, when it comes to foraging for wild plants, I go through 3 main questions. Is it safe? Is it sustainable? And is it respectful? So particularly when we're taking native species, could we be impinging on Indigenous traditional custodians, traditional foods and traditional medicines? We've got to make sure we have that balance and leave enough to share. That's good. Just a little diary I've been keeping notes in. Yeah, so I'll just show different flowers that are in season at certain times and what fruit coincides with those flowers coming out. That is handy. Bit of roadkill. I think this one might be just a little bit past it, but I have been known to go a little bit of roadkill from time to time. It's just a good, free food. You can also make it into jerky. I think people are going to have to set themselves up in a bit of a survival of the fittest type situation. They've got all their preps, they've got all their supplies, they've got all their skills, and then they'll have to branch out into this survival of the more cooperative. I know I'm a bit of a wanker, that's okay. So this is what I use as a smoker when I've got some wild meat. The legs have gotten shorter and shorter and shorter because I keep burning the legs off, so then we've got to cut them all shorter. When COVID hit, I was kind of in my element. Historically, there's been quite a lot of airborne disease. I had a lot of face masks. I had them before they were popular. I was able to dish out medical supplies, first aid kits, a lot of powdered foods. Everyone was all ears all of a sudden, which was quite good. I think my role in all of this, at least to me, is really clear, and that's to help people transition if we need to. You know, the people with all the good preps, they'll be like the new millionaires if we don't have access to supermarkets and that. You know, if they've got things like coffee, probably tobacco to trade, not that that would be the best thing to do. But obviously highly nutritious, vitamin and mineral rich foods will be like gold. This is both a water container and a water filter. You catch a rat or a mouse, which you're guaranteed if you've got a bag full of food here. I'll cover that in rat traps. You've got a source of food if you get desperate, not my first choice, but also you could use that to catch something else. This is a solar-powered radio. It's also a torch, and you can charge your phone from it as well, so it's hand-cranked. You can find out what's going on in the world, as much as the mainstream media will let us know. Now, let's not get excited, but did you see the news today? Something's going on and I'm not sure what to do. There are people around the world, they are dropping like flies, and it's coming to a town near. Follow what I'm doing. Elbows tucked in, knees bent. You're going to go boom, pull that shoulder back, boom, boom, and then throw that. Right, yeah, that looks good, but throw your body into it. Boop, boop.
So 1, 1, 2?
Yeah, do 1, 1, 2, that sounds good. That's good, and stomp your feet, so move your feet at the same time. Not bad, not bad. What if someone grabs you by the wrist and they're trying to take you in the car? Oh, that's it, and run. Come back. Keep going. Keep going, you'll get it. Right, it's about to go.
I can see the flames.
Got it, good job. Like a little pyramid.
Are these ones that I'm getting good?
Yeah, they're perfect. Becoming more and more popular for people to use, what are they called? Blowers?
What are they?
They get their automatic blower, leaf blowers, and they use that to get the fire started. It's pretty cheeky, but it works.
Well, I guess it's not cheeky. I guess it's just smart.
Smart, yeah, it's practical to be able to do that. Yeah, I don't expect her to be a prepper like me, although I'd like her to know how to look after herself out in the bush and how to keep herself safe and not seen if she needed to as well. The cave's over there, it's just pretty thick going, so just going to try and get to the rock face and then walk along. It was really caves like this that started getting me into prepping. I got to about 13 or 14 is when I really started to get this strong feeling that there'd be a time in the near future that we might have to really reactivate our innate connection to the land. To be able to throw a backpack over your shoulder with a little bit of food in it, a knife on your hip, a bit of fishing gear, and to know that you can go out into the bush and not only survive but thrive out there, it's pretty damn empowering. We are the land. Caring for nature is self-care. Without it, our future generations have got no hope. I started running for the checkout to get out of this madhouse and go home. And that's when I saw you, your cute little face mask, gloves and Sandy in aisle 7. And it must have been fate, 'cause it was 11:11. And my favourite number's always been 7. And if we dig a little deeper, is it what they say it is? 'Cause if it isn't, we are in a bit of